Danny Gray, I've heard that you've had some semi-critical breakdown of Dan. Not even say critical, but just brutally honest. What have you seen watching Danny Gray on film?
I saw someone that doesn't necessarily play to his speed throughout routes, and
Okay.
for a lot of guys that are really fast, like that's the thing that they have to learn the most, right? So and it's crazy because if he goes out and he does something very well week 1 or week 2 or whatever, people are gonna be like, "See, Croc, you said he was sorry," and this and that. I'm like, dude, I never say he was sorry.
No, he didn't. Yeah.
All I said was, listen, when I watch him and I'm watching defensive backs, who I know how defensive backs feel, and that's how I evaluate guys.
Right.
They're not threatened by you at all,
Okay.
by your
Okay.
speed. They cover you like you are closer to a 4.6 than a 4.3. And I'm just watching, like, are they in a rush to get upfield? Are they bailing on their technique? Are they timid to get hands on, right? A lot of people talk about, just get hands on the guy at the line of scrimmage. I'm like, dude, it's not that hard. Like, these receivers are quick. They're twitched up. They're explosive, especially against fast guys. If you kind of try to get hands on and you stop your feet, like, he's out of there, right? Then you get in this state of kind of panic where your time clock is sped up, your technique goes out the window, and then you go for everything that he gives you, right? When I was watching guys against him, there was none of that. It was just, okay, you go up, let me get hands on him. They were playing what I call dick to hip. So it's like the lower hip instead of being upfield shoulder. So to me, it was like, man, they're not really respecting the speed. Now, if you throw on a highlight and you see him maybe catch a post or you catch a crossing route and outrun people and you see his speed from that standpoint, like, I get it. But when you just put on the film, to me, I didn't see that pop up on a consistent basis at all. Now, that's not saying he can't be good. That's just saying, those are probably things he needs to work on. Yeah. And if he does, then he'll be a much better overall receiver. And I heard in rookie minicamp, he was, catching some passes and he was doing well.
He whooped Tariq Castro Fields. I'm gonna say that. He whooped Tariq Castro Fields. But I mean, that's a 7th round pick. He's supposed to, right?
Right. So that's good, right? Like,
Tariq was all over his face, disrespected him, trying to press him, and whooped him. Now, he went up against Womack once. Womack was playing a little bit off. He beat him with like a quick slant. It was like a 10-yard gain. I'm not going to say he whooped Womack, but he whooped Castro Fields for a touchdown like 4 times.
Well, that's not good for Castro Fields. So, but just in general, like, those are the things that you want to see. And then as he continues to go into training camp, that you want to see that carry over because now he's going to be going up against more seasoned veteran type guys like Emmanuel Mosley and Charvarius Ward, and hell, he might even have to go up against like Jimmy Ward and Jason Verrett and all these guys. They're not going to be scared of his speed at all. So maybe Verrett coming off of injury, but aside from that, there are guys that are going to really challenge him. So you just got to take your game to the next level, and that's what the NFL is for. That's what off-season training is for, to improve on those things. If he can just learn to play with more what we call high-end controlled speed, then he'll be awesome. But I think that's something that's still a development part in his game, which it can come. So I just was showing the film, and people didn't like that. They didn't like what I was showing, I guess.
That's fair. Look, I think what you're saying, what I'm hearing is that you don't see a future starting wide receiver in the NFL. I don't either. I saw him in person. I thought he did look fast on the practice field, but I didn't see a future starting wide receiver. But what I was thinking is, how Kyle used Taylor Gabriel in Atlanta as like that number 3 receiver, the kind of guy, like, if you forget about him, it's a touchdown. He could, Danny Gray could be that, because you have to put so much effort into stopping the run game and Debo and Kittle and Ayuk that on that one play you forget about Danny Gray, it could be a touchdown. He could be just wide open. I don't know. It seems like he could fill that role. Taylor Gabriel.
You know what? I won't even say Gabriel, because in my head, I just like Gabriel's more twitched up, sudden, explosive from that standpoint.
Fair.
But Ted Ginn, right? Okay. Who was like more of a straight line guy.
Okay.
He was never going to be your wide receiver 1. But when he was playing in Carolina with Kelvin Benjamin and Devin Funches, and then, by the way, we got this speed guy that can, run up the seam or a deep post, and you have a quarterback with a big arm that can throw it out there. That's the type of guy that you would like to see run under the ball. Now, is he going to be your guy that catches, 80 passes, 90 passes a season? I'll never tell somebody what they will or won't be, right? Yeah. He has a ways to go to become that. Yeah. But as far as how he can be utilized right now, I would say definitely someone that can either stretch the field or pull coverage, and he could probably excel in that type of role.
Yeah, I think I agree. But when they drafted him, they also were trying to sell that he's a good yards after the catch guy. Real tough, can slash through the defense. We'll see. I noticed that he didn't really return anything in college, though. Like he returned some kicks, didn't really do much, didn't return punts. I was thinking, I mean, if you're at SMU and you're a great yak guy, you probably would be a returner too. Debo was a returner at South Carolina. He was a hell of a kick returner at South Carolina.
Yeah.
I'm a little skeptical that he's going to be this yak guy. I think he's probably going to be just a guy who runs clear out routes and maybe catches one or two.
I would say, you know, and Kyle's been looking for that guy, right?
Yeah.
People forget about these signings, but you know, JJ Nelson,
True.
Tavon Austin,
True.
Travis Benjamin in that same offseason, right? Like guys that he felt
Marquise
like
Goodwin. He gave a lot of money to Marquise Goodwin. Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of it was guys that could potentially pull coverage. And if you look at Danny Gray and you think that he has that type of ability, awesome. Now, and again, we'll see how it works out. I would have rather had Calvin Austin.
Me too.
That pick, you know,
you could have had him a round later.
And who got Calvin Austin?
Pittsburgh, who always gets it right at wide receiver. And so, the Niners know it. That's why they got Ray.
Yeah, we'll see. But I would have rather had Calvin Austin.
Yep.
You talk about return ability that you've seen, you know, the ability to still stretch guys. I think he's somebody that definitely threatens DBs at the line of scrimmage with his speed. He's a jitterbug. I was watching him at the Senior Bowl. They couldn't even figure out how to cover him at the Senior Bowl. Like, it's like, man, do we press him? Nope, ran right back. Then do we play off? Nope, ran right. Yeah. Outside, like, there was nothing they could do. And I'm like, man, that's my type of guy. So I was higher on Calvin Austin, but they went with Danny Gray. We'll see. I'm not like down on Danny Gray. I just think, you know, there's things that he needs to continue to work on.
Do you have a feel for how Kyle develops his draft crushes? I mean, he has no idea who these players are until January. He flips on the tape and all of a sudden he's like, boom, Danny Gray's the one for me. How? Why? I don't understand. Or Trey Sermon or Ty Davis. It just seems like, does he have a pattern here? I don't know. If he does, I don't know what it is. Strange.
He does. Well, here's the weird thing.
Okay.
He might have a pattern of guys that he likes and whatnot, but then at the blink of an eye, he could just not like a guy.
That's right.
He just doesn't play him. So
that is crazy to me.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's like he pounds the table for a guy, sees him for 2 practices. He's like, oh yeah, he's trash. Like, how can you do that? Yeah.
And he does a lot of things, and I always bring this up, but how he was with Brandon Ayuk, who everybody watched Brandon Ayuk as a rookie and was like, hey, like this is a legit receiver. Hey, this is gonna be wide receiver 1 in the future. And then Kyle Shanahan, year 2, he starts off in the doghouse, and then Kyle Shanahan says, well, if I would have had better players his rookie year, we wouldn't have played him. And I was like, what? Like, Kyle, what are we doing? Like,
what are we talking about?
Clearly he knows how to play football. Clearly he did well. Clearly, like, he showed everything, but Kyle was like, nope. So I don't know. Kyle gets really weird with players, and it's hard to disagree because, you know, we're talking about, you know, 2 NFC championship games and the Super Bowl appearance in the last 3 years. So it's like, well, the results are good. So how dare you question Kyle Shanahan? But his methods, in the sense of how he handles players, to me has come off a little weird. And I wouldn't be surprised if, let's say, Danny Gray comes out and if something's not quite right away, Kyle is kind of the type of guy that's just like, everybody else, you're playing Danny Gray, you won't even be active. And that's tough.
I'm going the other way with this. Brandon, I love you. You know, I know your mom. I mean, I know your whole family. I love you, man. Don't think you're out of the doghouse just yet. You pretty much made it out by default last year because Trent Sherfield was nothing. But the reason Kyle Shanahan was down on you is because he essentially wants you to be faster. You got to run a lot of clear out routes for Kittle and Debo, and you're not as fast as Danny Gray. I'm just saying, man, you're going to lose some snaps to Danny Gray just for, I don't know if he's going to get the ball, but he's going to run some routes that you, and maybe you don't even want to run those routes, Brandon. I don't know. But I'm telling you, this is because of you that they got Danny Gray. It's because of you. I'm serious. I'm
curious to see. They're different type of receivers.
Yes.
I was definitely higher on Ayuk coming out. And I could see right away, like, okay, I could see why Kyle Shanahan really liked this Ayuk kid. Yeah. Danny Gray, a little harder to see, but again, I'll never say what somebody's gonna be. He has all the ability to become, you know, but I'm in between, like, will he be closer to Mike Wallace or AJ Jenkins? right?
Yeah.
And that's why I'm kind of, now right now so far how it sounds like he did
I
at rookie
feel confident
minicamp,
to say
it
he's
seems
better
like
than
he's
AJ
closer
Jenkins.
to it sounds like he's better than AJ Jenkins. People have told me like, oh, they knew right away, like, no, Jenkins, this guy's not gonna cut it. They found that out in like minicamp. So it sounds like he's already better than there. So continue to work to being closer to Mike Wallace, who, you know, was a solid receiver in the NFL.
AJ Jenkins never had a day in practice where he caught 4 balls in any setting.